In terms of, you know, comedy being your, say, focus for writing, is there particular ways that you go about writing for that genre, and like literally in terms of, you know, what are your processes for sitting down at the table, getting started, finding the first idea, even, you know, the initial kind of impulse for a new script, you know?
I probably have I've been talking to a lot of writers recently and asking them what their process is, and I found everyone's differs greatly.
Oh, sure.
But I generally sit down and start writing because of either a joke I've thought of or heard stolen, or a feeling. So even rather than having a story or sometimes characters, like I could start writing dialogue and just name them letters of the alphabet for maybe a scene or two, and then I'll see kind of what's coming out of it. And where the story is going. And I was saying to somebody the other day, I wish I was a writer that could be like, I know I have my beginning, middle and my end and my story and my characters, and I'm just not. So I'm not going to try and do that. But dialogue, that's how I would get into writing. That's how I start writing. And also in terms of comedy, I mean, when I was younger, I was always told, I hung around with a lot of boys, I was told women aren't really funny, or I'd always heard that, you know, girls aren't funny, women aren't funny. So I, you know, again, injustice. I felt like that's not true. So when I started writing, first of all, and I started writing comedy, I wanted to write something that could be picked up by men or women and still be funny. I was writing for women, but I didn't want any of the comedy relying on the fact that they were women. Now, I'm not saying other people do that, but I was just like, make this quite clear, that this is, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it was just a chip I think I had on my shoulder, that I was like, something's funny, regardless of maybe gender.
And do you have like rules for yourself for writing, like about where you do it, or, you know, is there a favourite place to write, or is there like, you know, an egg timer turned on, or is there an egg timer thrown against the wall, or
eggs thrown against the wall? No, I was very lucky at the start of this year. I am first of all, I'm writing in residence here, so the new theatre have very kindly offered that I can come in and sit in this gorgeous space to write. I was writing from bed or from the couch or wherever I could, and then I got the Rough Magic Seeds programme. So I have a desk in Rough Magic. Then I have access to the building all the time, which is really good because I feel like my brain sort of switches on after 6 p.m. Like really for writing. You know, I can do other stuff. I can get up early and do it, but I write better in the evening at night. Going into the office in Rough Magic is where I seem to be getting most stuff done.
Do you find that really useful in terms of, like, you know, a different space for work away from home?
Absolutely. Like it's completely, because you kind of don't know when to stop, especially if it's from your bed. You know, like some days I would have woken up and opened the laptop and just started writing and not even, you know, gotten a cup of coffee, and that's sort of confusing to your body.
But you said about triangles that went to the international, so what came next after that then?
So Pacemaker was one, and that was in Seen and Heard again. I was really lucky. I applied for Seen and Heard sort of 3 years in a row, with collaborations, and then Seen and Heard too. And I've been writing All Honey between I started writing in 2006 and 16, and then I left it to the side. And then I got a reading here with All Honey in the new theatre. It was like an open
the open call for new writers every year.
And I got a night on the stage for like a 20-minute version of All Honey, and it was brilliant. We were really lucky. The place was packed and got a really good atmosphere. So that was what spurred me on to apply for the Fringe with All Honey. And then simultaneously, when I was doing that, I wrote Pacemaker, which was in Seen and Heard in 2017. So these were that's the same kind of period.
So you actually had to sort of 2 years ago.
And
you know, if you go back to that reading of All Honey, when it was a 20-minute piece, and then it had a very strong reaction, did you kind of then immediately go, that's it, that's brilliant, you know, it's working, boom, straight into the rest of the play?
Kind of. But what was really important for me at that, and what the reading allowed me to do that I probably wouldn't have the privilege of doing in another way, was that I got really, like, I mean, every one of the actors I've ever worked with have been some of my favourite actors in Dublin, so I've been really, really lucky. But I got actors that I wouldn't have gotten for a 3-week rehearsal period, not paying them a profit share. I got like a director I wouldn't have got. I got Ciara Elizabeth to direct it as well. So I had a really good team, and they were all really confident in the piece. And when the piece went well, I was like, that's what gave me the confidence to be like, okay, I'll put it into the Fringe. And I had actually, that was my 3rd time applying for the Fringe, so I had learned a lot from the first 2 applications.
Oh yes, very much.
But yeah, it was when the reading went really well, I was like, okay, this at least there's something here.
This is the one.
Keep working. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yes, so to go into Fringe in 2017 was fantastic, and it also then won what's the award it's called?
Fishamble New Writing Award.
Yes, yeah. And so then came back again.
Yes, yeah, in Bewley's.
Yeah.
Which was gorgeous, yeah.
So you were kind of a central character. Sorry, when I say you performed one of the central characters in All Honey, and I'd just be interested about that whole kind of process of when you're the writer, but you're also the performer in the room, and how that, well, kind of how it feels, but also does it like give you a different perspective on the script than being the writer who sits and watches the actors in the room? Yeah,
absolutely. It was, again, I was very lucky when we did All Honey for Fringe. I got Ciara Elizabeth to direct it again, and myself and herself just kind of, the first time we met, we clicked. So we've a great shorthand. So I didn't really feel the need when I was in the room. So once we locked the script and we went into rehearsals, we did 3 weeks rehearsals before Fringe full time. I was really just, it's Ciara's room, so I'm literally here as an actor. If there are any questions that need to be asked to the writer, I would answer them. If there were any rhythm things, it's the only thing I wrote. Well, I usually write in quite a strict rhythm. So if there's any rhythm things, they'd ask me, but no. So that was so lovely because I was just in the room as an actor when I was there.
Sure.
Thank God, because I couldn't do both, I don't think.
Yeah, but you have directed some of your earlier pieces, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you've directed and been the writer as well.
Yeah.
And how's that?
Well, I loved that. I directed and wrote Pacemaker, which was seen in her 2017, with Meg Healy and Camille Lucy Ross in it, and that is the play that is with Fishamble at the moment. So it got into a play for Ireland. So that was the one I directed, and I loved it. I found that more terrifying than being on stage, though. Like much more terrifying, because it was like
you're shaping your own words, kind of thing.
Well, there's nothing I could do. When they were about to go on stage, I was like at the, up in the box, like I'm done. There's nothing I can do now. But it worked out really well. Yeah, I was really happy with it.
Yeah. So when you're actually writing and you get back to the desk, being that you are a writer who's also has experience of acting and in your own work. Do you do a lot of sort of speaking out of the work? Or like even sometimes if you get stuck or something, do you actually stand up and sort of move around the room with it?
I read it all out loud, because once it's out loud you can kind of hear what doesn't work. And if I get really stuck, I'll ask a couple of actors that I work with all the time to come in. Like Meg Healy's my best friend, thank God, because she's a really good actor. So I'd ask her to kind of come in and read it out loud, maybe one or two of the other actors I know, because first of all, I think things sound different out loud, obviously, but they also sound different when there's other people in the room. So if it's just you in the room, it might sound one way, but actually when it's in front of other people and it's on other people's ears, you can really hear what doesn't work, especially for comedy. Because they're not laughing. That's the main thing. Yeah,
well, I was interested when you talked about rhythm and how important rhythm is in the work, and obviously it's a huge part of comedy, and where the line lands or the punchline lands or whatever, And do you find that easier, like, to hear once it's spoken out loud? The rhythm of it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a funny thing. I had a few of the girls in, a few actors in to read a couple of scenes from the play I'm working on at the moment, which is We Can't Have Monkeys in the House, for the new theatre. And I use a lot of punctuation to delineate rhythm. And they read it the first 2 times, and it was, they were trying to get their mouths around the language, and they were excellent. But I thought, I was like, that's not working, that's legitimately not funny. So for the 3rd time that we read it, we asked them to just speed it up. Speed it. I was like, don't worry about the words, just speed it up. And then it started to work, and some bits really fell into place. Now some bits didn't, and I could hear what didn't work, but it was interesting that it was so reliant on rhythm.
Well, it's also interesting. I wonder how, comedy is such a particular and exacting form of writing. It's really interesting how, much it needs that live kind of input.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just talk a little bit, very briefly, because it's all kind of under wraps until November, about your play for the new theatre, which is called
We Can't Have Monkeys in the House.
There we go.
We Can't Have Monkeys in the House.
Which obviously we're very excited about, and I just want to point out that no live monkeys have been harmed in the making of this play.
Well, we'll see. No.
But can you give us like a little kind of brief 3-line snapshot of your thinking on it?
God, I wish I could. I'll do my best.
Okay.
So it is about families. So it is about regression, when people leave their family home and come back. It's about repression as well. People feel like they can't say things to their family, and maybe they're a little bit freer about their family. It's about when a tragedy strikes a family, how do people react? And when money comes into play as well.
But it's funny.
Hilarious! It's gas.
Okay, so on that note, thank you very much for coming in and sharing all about your process and the soon-to-be exciting brand new Ciara Elizabeth Smyth play at the new theatre.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.